Redfall is a game that I have been interested in. It's coming from, of course, a team, Arcane, that is very, very well respected. They've done some amazing stuff. They have an amazing team over there. However, Redfall as a game has just been strange to me. It doesn't seem to be coming together. I don't see the vision of that game yet. I don't see what's supposed to like pull me in and make me go, oh, this is why you play this game for hours and hours on end. And I think a lot of that is compounded by the fact that Deathloop I found to be quite lackluster, or at least, well, significantly worse than I thought it was going to be. It got amazing reviews. People praised the crap out of it. And then when I finally played it, I was like, really? This is it? It just didn't hook me. Didn't hook me. So for Redfall, I'm going in, shocker, skeptical. I hope to be convinced, but I'm not going to go into this hyped or thinking anything other than sell me on it. Tell me why I should be excited, why I should spend money on this. What's the hook? What's supposed to bring me in? Because so far nothing's quite doing it. So today I figured we would go through the gameplay, the previews, the developer directs, those things that they've shown off, and look at it as level-headedly as we can to get an idea of what this game is supposed to be and figuring out what even is going on. Dante, marketing for Redfall is horrible, but I love Arcane, so I'll give it a shot after they said it. After they said they will let us play offline. That is one good point, Dante. The game was originally announced to be online only. It had to be online at all times. And then they said that they delayed it and they were working on establishing a system where you could play offline, which is awesome. That's great. Don't you mean cynicism? Yeah, Michael, exactly. So that's good. Like they're making strides there, but I do agree, Dante, that I think the marketing has been quite problematic. It seems like they're showcasing the wrong things primarily. And more than anything, I think it's that a lot of these marketing teams, for some reason, think that co-op action shooters, if you just say that 15 times, everybody will love your game. And that's just not the case. It's just not. A lot of the time when the game's coming from a studio that's previously done great single player stuff, that actually detracts from the game. Like that actually makes it worse or sound worse. Because like we hear that Rocksteady is coming out with this 4-player co-op action shooter, and then everybody's like, oh, but Rocksteady made the Arkham games. This sucks. And they don't like it. And then with this is an amazing team that's previously done some phenomenal single player shooters. And then we find out that they're doing co-op stuff. And again, it's not a benefit. It's not a plus. It actually detracts from it because we look at it as sort of a waste of their talent. Because it's like, there's only so many companies that can do really good single player shooters. And then to see them shift and now go towards this stuff, it's kind of a bummer. You know, Marvel's Avengers was probably the forerunner or front runner for killing that fad. Yeah, I think you're actually probably quite right. I think that there was a handful of other games that tried to follow in the footsteps of, say, Overwatch. You guys remember Lawbreakers and all of those games that came out that were trying to do what those games did and just weren't quite coming together and doing it. And since then, we've gotten a ton of attempts at that formula that just fall flat, like Gotham Knights. Exactly, Nandish. So there's just a ton of examples of this going really poorly, and it leaves a really bad taste in the mouths of players because we wait for 5-6 years to get a title from a developer that we've previously really, really enjoyed, and then we get the game and it sucks, and we naturally associate the 4-player co-op thing experiment with this game sucks. Even though it sucks independent of that, you can have a really good game that's 4-player co-op, but we naturally associate things together, you know. But let's see with this. This is the original developer direct and deep dive on Redfall gameplay, because they realized pretty early on that what they were saying was not really doing it. People weren't understanding what this game was supposed to be. And so naturally, they were like, okay, crap, we got to figure this out, because this is not, this ain't working. We gotta figure this out. Let's see.
Something evil is swallowing up this place bit by bit. Nobody ever believes things can get this bad until it happens. then it's too late. But there are people who can fight back. Stick together!
Also, everything being purple now, that's another thing that triggers the hell out of me. It just, oh God, it pisses me off. It's every game nowadays wants to be Fortnite 1.5, and so everything is purple crystals, I swear to God.
Welcome to Redfall, Massachusetts, where the calm seas and sunny...
Fun fact, Nikki cannot say Massachusetts. She says Massachusetts. Like her mouth can't make the syllables. It's really funny. Next time she comes in, you got to ask her in chat to say Massachusetts. It's really, really funny.
Skies have been eclipsed by a legion of vampires. Redfall is a story-driven shooter at its heart, which can be played single-player or co-op with up to 4 players. Choose your hero, each with...
That's one of her abilities. Vampire ex-boyfriend is one of her abilities. And again, remember we were saying the cringe stuff with what was it called? Saints Row, trying to be relatable to the young people. Her character trait is the telekinetic threat in Student Debt. Again, like trying to be really relatable, and it comes off as try hard and cringe. It rhymes, so that's good. We'll give them that. This one, the dead eye with an undead eye. That's funny. I'll give them that. The dead eye with an undead eye. That's cool. Heartstopper, Cloak, Raven. Jacob moves like a ghost. After years as a special forces sniper, he flipped to corporate contracts, working with the Bellwether Security. That gig eventually brought him to Redfall, where an encounter with one of the vampire gods left him with strange powers and ghostly Raven companion. Growing up as a foster kid, Jacob is used to tough situations, but the conniving vampires on the island will test his limits.
Choose your hero.
Layla's mind is a telekinetic weapon. She came to Redfall to attend the local university, but after volunteering for a shady medical study by Avum Therapeutics, she emerged with some of the vampires' amazing psychic abilities, though none of their appetite for blood. Her graduate school plan was to study vascular mechanics on the way to a biomed degree, all in the name of helping people. Now, thanks to her special powers, Layla finds herself in a desperate struggle to save the remaining survivors living in the shadows of Redfall. Why don't we ever have students getting like really stupid degrees in these games? Why is it always like, oh, they're actually a genius and they're pursuing neuroscience and they also have 15... Somehow they have 15 high school diplomas, even though that doesn't matter. They're just that good at everything. Like, where is the guy getting a degree? I kid you not, I knew somebody who got a degree in Romantic Spanish literature. Where's the person getting a degree in that? That's gotta be the most useless degree I've ever heard of. Where is that? Where are these people? Like, seriously, where do you go to get a job as a... I have a degree in Romantic Spanish literature? Like... I don't know. Steffi, as someone who used her degree for nothing, I feel attacked. Hey, if it makes you feel any better, I have a degree in corporate finance and I'm a gaming YouTuber. Like, I don't use my degree at all. I ramble about it. I mention it a lot randomly, but let's be real. Most people on like some of these subreddits covering finance probably know way more than me about all this stuff.
Their own unique abilities.
Okay, the verified cryptid hunter. Of course, there's a Bigfoot hunter in here, of course, naturally. Dev is an internet famous, of course, cryptid hunter and ghost chaser. From his home in the UK, he spent years documenting the weird and the hidden. After visiting Redfall to promote his latest book, Like a Mothman to the Flame, Dev finds himself trapped with no way to stream to his eager fans. Oh my God, he's a streamer too, dude. The last one, Layla, she, don't worry, she is just a student in student debt. And then we have a ghost stories influencer. I gotta say, I find it so funny because like I'm a young man in student debt and I'm an influencer. I hate the term. And I find this cringe. This technically, I think, is supposed to make the game way more relatable to me. And yet I find it so freaking cringe. Yeah, Nanda, she's probably a Kick streamer for real.
And form the perfect vampire.
Wait, hold on. I want to see this one. Remy has dedicated her life to rescuing people from disaster zones. Of course, she's a great person. Of course she is. There's never a bad person in these. She's dedicated her life to rescuing people from disaster zones, though vampires are admittedly a new twist. As a combat engineer with a degree from MIT. Again, remember, everybody's a genius in these games. Nobody's dumb. There's never the person getting the degree in romantic Spanish literature. That's unrealistic. That's unrealistic. Let's be real. She and her prototype robot, Bribon, maybe, were an obvious choice to train Coast Guard personnel in Redfall on bot-assisted search and rescue. As the eldest in her family, Remy sees herself as a protector, the one to rely on. She will use her technical expertise and everything at her disposal to try to help those trapped on the island, except the bloodsuckers. Okay.
Vampire slaying squad to take back Redfall's haunted streets.
At Arcane, we make games where the world itself is as important as the characters. With Redfall, we take an exciting step forward, building a lovingly detailed open world to
Lovingly detailed. I love these terms. I love it.
deliver our largest setting ever. Every inch of our open world is carefully handcrafted and packed with environmental storytelling. Explore the streets of a quaint island town, from the once bustling downtown to the haunted forest to the decimated seaside boardwalk and gorgeously detailed landmarks. But it's not all danger all the time. There are safe places on the island where you can rest up, chat with survivors, and resupply. Here we're at the fire station, one of your home bases. This is one place you'll receive missions from survivors.
There's something I need you to do. The old lighthouse in the bay. It's been used for over a century to keep boats away from the coastline. If we turn it back on, it's a warning to anyone trying to come to Redfall right now. Easy, right? Well, the lighthouse keeper's a real asshole. Joined up with those cultists and took the damn lamp with him.
Go on, Bert.
Here's a vampire known as the Shroud. Shrouds blanket the area in darkness, disorienting their prey. They hurl lethal projectiles and can even shift through the floor to avoid damage.
You know what? I'm actually getting a lot of Fallout 4 vibes. Like, I've said before that Fallout 4 is hot dog water, but I've since adjusted that. It's hot dog water if you try to play it as an RPG. If you play Fallout 4 as like a looter shooter adventure game, it's actually pretty decent. It actually is pretty fun. And this is giving me a lot of those Fallout 4 vibes. A lot of those just run around, take in the world, just go have fun. But it's like Fallout 4 with co-op, which could be fun. What's my Metacritic score prediction? Ask me again after we go through all of this. Hot dog water or hot dog water? Dealer's choice. I will say I'm glad that they don't have the characters constantly talking about random stuff that has nothing to do with what they're actively doing. Well, there was Fallout 76. We don't talk about Fallout 76 though. Yeah, that was technically like co-op Fallout, but in my view, Fallout 4 is so much better than Fallout 76 in every way. Not just the world building and the like ambient storytelling through the environments and everything, but even down just to the basic performance. Every time I try to boot into Fallout 76, there's a little bit of lag with all of the inputs because the game is just not built very well. And So I just, man, it just doesn't work for me. Fallout 4, way better. No cuff, no buy. Yeah, where's the cuff? Bad mouthing you. And where's the girl that lights her apartment on fire and then leaves the money behind? Poopy.
Bugging out.
Oh yeah, sorry, it was Mario. You're right.
16 times the detail.
Climb and climb, 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 climb.
The lighthouse is back up, but there's more waiting for you. Taking down vampires angers the vampire gods, who will summon the Rook to take you down.
Let's transition to what you'll find outside of the main story missions.
I mean, I'm in
There's
for
so
big
much
boss
waiting for
fights.
you. Redfall is filled with encounters that can pop up anywhere, like this brewery that's fallen under cultist control. Save the locals from being offered to the vampires. Like our past games, you can approach a mission in many different ways. Always be ready to improvise. Remy uses her combat robot Bribon to help distract and eliminate the cultists.
We got him, Bribon.
Climbed that ladder like a fiend.
Nice having internet. Yep.
Yeah, I do like the stealth options.
Everyone's safe. Let's move on.
What the hell was even
Everyone's
that?
safe.
Look at his hands. Look at those fingers. Is it just me or are those hands way too big for his body? What the hell is even that? Dude, that's so unsettling. That's so upsetting. Look at the pinky and the ring finger. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Let's move on.
Get that boy some gloves.
Exploring
E.T.
Redfall will take you
phone
beyond the
home.
bounds of reality as you investigate otherworldly psychic spaces to unravel the vampire's secrets. Take this vampire nest. These deadly layers change.
These
each
outdoor
time.
areas look badass. And from what we just saw in the previous segment, I think they're saying that these sections are in the last half of the game. So the city sections with the houses and the brewery and all of that stuff is in the first half. And then in the last half, you go to the rural areas, which is this. And I will be honest, this bit looks really, really good. Graphically, artistically, it looks great.
Time you step inside. Jacob sends out his raven to tag the enemies below. Dev follows up with his teleporter, instantly closing the gap.
Good design. I just noticed this. They have the little wooden stake as the bayonet on the rifle. That's a good touch. I like that. I'll say when you swap weapons, it instantly disappears. Not a big deal. It's like a little abrupt, but
To destroy a nest, you have to take out its heart, and all of the vampires willing to die to protect it.
Horrible way to die.
Stirring, relax.
I woke them up. Just one bite.
the gun designs look cool.
What just happened?
Now escape the nest before it comes crashing down.
It'll collapse any second.
Nests aren't the only psychic spaces. You'll find dangerous pockets all over the island. It's all vampire turf, so tread carefully.
I got you.
Redfall won't truly be safe until the vampires are wiped from the map. Outside the main story, another one of your missions is to take back Redfall neighborhood by neighborhood. Find safe houses hidden all over the island, and then work your way up to the vampire controlling the neighborhood. To reclaim this neighborhood, you'll have to defeat a powerful vampire called the Siphon. Whether you dive in solo or with friends, each hero can take on any situation. Each brings powerful, unique abilities to the fight, and the upgrades you choose change how they play. Here, Layla's lift ability can be upgraded to launch teammates for airborne attacks. Upgrade Layla's umbrella ability with bullet hail to absorb enemy bullets and release the energy back at them. There are many ways to customize your hero's ability tree to match your playstyle.
Nighty-night.
Aimbot confirmed.
Light on the subject.
Let's hit on the arsenal. There's a wide range of weaponry, from military gear to new vampire-slaying inventions. From shotguns to sniper rifles.
Well, well.
And of course, there's also vampire stakes. Find these in the world to customize your weapons. When you reclaim significant sections of Redfall, the last step is to face the underboss who controls, or used to control, that neighborhood. Underboss.
Nothing triggers me more than somebody hip firing. So no ADS. Hip firing from a distance. Like, look at this madness.
Face the underboss who controls,
If you do this, you should lose access to your gaming console.
or used to control.
Look at that. You're like 50 feet away.
Sections of Redfall, the last
What are you
step
doing?
is to face the underboss who controls,
Look at all these shots. It's like all over the place. ADS, you dumbass. What are you doing?
or used to control, that neighborhood. Underbosses are powerful elites of the vampire gods,
Your favorite game is CSGO then? Oh, for sure.
with their own unique abilities, like this one's shield. When you prove yourself against the underboss, you'll receive a key of sorts.
I know she's saying it underboss. I will insist on calling it Unterboss. So just be ready for that. And then give you guys time to prepare.
A skull that gets you one step closer to facing the ultimate threat, the vampire gods.
Thank you for visiting Redfall.
And thank you for all the support you've shown Arcane throughout the years.
We sometimes joke that our games can be tough to define. The one thing that's consistent?
We make the kinds of games we love to play.
And that's how Redfall was born. We blended everything we love here at Arcane Austin.
Immersive open worlds, unique and customizable heroes, RPG and FPS gameplay.
And of course, our signature storytelling and rich world building.
along with our spin on one of the most classic monsters of all time.
Vampires.
It's been amazing to see how all of us have pulled together to deliver our vision for something new.
Redfall is the biggest, most ambitious game we have ever made.
Our teams dove headfirst into this new opportunity, and we can't wait for you to experience Redfall for yourself.
Thankfully, you won't have to wait too much longer. Redfall's coming on May 2nd.
Thank you again for joining us.
And we'll see you soon in Redfall.
Here we go.
So, okay. Not the worst thing ever. I kind of see what they're trying to do. I'm sniffing what they're stepping in. However, still concerned about some things. I mean, as for the main story, I don't really know what is even going on. The characters, thankfully, this is one of those like moments where the lack of something I actually find to be a positive. It would have been very easy for them to put in dialogue with the characters talking to each other, trying to have witty banter. And for it to just end up so cringe. Like, you know, the, of course, Forspoken is a great example of this. Or, what was that other co-op game where the characters were always talking to each other in the trailer and it just was like, oh my God, shut up. What was that? What am I thinking of? Deathloop, sort of, but not totally. Like, because at least in Deathloop, there's conversations. I think they spoil it by the end of it with that bizarre plot twist that just made it terrible. A Way Out. Yeah, they did never stop talking. That's true. Rick and Morty. Yeah, maybe Borderlands is what I'm thinking of.
In a game all about vampire slaying, it's pretty important that killing your blood-feasting foes feels like an event in and of itself. That's exactly what Arcane Austin has done with Redfall. Much like how assassination sim Dishonored had gloriously bloody backstab animations, Redfall revels in the act of plunging a wooden stake through a vampire's heart. There's weight in the blow as you knock your foe backwards and slam them into the floor, pushing a boot into a jaw that quickly evaporates into fiery dust. Yes, killing vampires in Redfall feels good.
Got it.
Yeah, and these things are important, seeing the previews, because so often trailers can make a game look one way over another. It's very important to see this. Only funny dialogue I've seen is in Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy, that game's so underrated. Really, really good.
At a recent hands-on event, I played around 90 minutes of Redfall, which gave me the first taste of something akin to a Far Cry game made by Stephen King. It's an open-world shooter set in modern-day Massachusetts, filled with gothic small-town vibes, fanged horrors, and a buffet of activity types. That means Prey and Dishonored developer Arcane Austin is operating in uncharted territory. Redfall is very different to the studio's other games, and initially feels a lot more conventional. A freely explored map with safe houses, enemy camps, side errands, and tier-graded loot. Check, 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 and check. But the more I played, the more I saw of what I'd expect from the historically ambitious developer. The island town of Redfall has clever environment design that's engineered to complement your skills. The enemy AI is there to be toyed with, allowing you to bait your foes into traps. And every second room I entered felt staged to tell a story. Redfall definitely is an Arcane game, just not the one I expected. The demo began midway through an investigation into Dr. Addison, a physician turned vampire god known as the Hollow Man. I was to search his mansion, a ransacked estate that appeared frozen in time mid-explosion, in the hope of discovering something that may weaken him. Of course,
that is kind of cool. Mid-explosion. I like that.
Said mansion was crawling with enemies, both bloodsuckers and the humans who work in service to them. It was a classic infiltration setup that had much of what you'd expect of Arcane's work in this field. Patrolling cultists guarded the perimeter, CCTV-like vampires lurked on the building's roof, and there were multiple entry points to choose from.
He lived in a bloody mansion.
There's the character dialogue.
See a few possible entrances.
Inside, the route to my objective was spelled out only with clues, and so exploration and close reading of the space is mandatory. It soon became clear that to find what I was looking for, I needed to replace 3 characters missing from Addison's daughter's dollhouse. After scouring the house and finding the little figures I needed, I was transported back to a period where the mansion was tidy, unexploded, and Addison hadn't gone full vampire mode. In this timeline, which felt like a simpler, less fantastical version of Dishonored 2's Crack in the Slab in the way it repurposed the location to tell its story, I watched apparitions play out a tragedy between Addison and his daughter. It's a tale I won't spoil here, but one that reveals the vampire god's weakness, and presumably will help me burn him out of existence in a later mission. Of course, Redfall isn't all about rebuilding creepy dollhouses and reliving children's trauma. As mentioned earlier, it's also very much about sending vampires to hell in very cool ways. Your arsenal comprises a bunch of conventional firearms, shotguns, pistols, assault rifles and the like, as well as a variety of DIY weapons designed specifically for vampire hunting. The selection I've used of the former feel heavy and powerful, but even those with the highest stats are unable to truly eliminate a vampire. Bloodsuckers downed by regular guns will reanimate a few moments later, and so, in tradition with vampire lore, the only way to properly end them is with a stake driven through their heart. Many guns are equipped with a wooden bayonet for such occasions, but the jury-rigged stake launcher lets you dust vamps from a distance with a single trigger pull. Ammo for the launcher seems much more scarce than regular bullets though, and so I found myself continually assessing if each fanged target was worth the shot. Should you be out of stakes, there are other ways to do the job. Fire does the trick, and so exploding hazards or flare guns will turn a vampire into a smouldering barbecue. Electricity also generates heat, and so setting up some kind of live wire trap will fry them too. They also hate ultraviolet light. It freezes them into temporary stone statues, so a UV emitter gun is a handy thing to pack. Just remember to shatter your targets before the petrification wears off. All of these techniques give the sense of vampire hunting being a process, a profession, to be.
And I especially like you having to push up like onto the target once they've been downed so that you have to wipe them. Mainly and specifically because it encourages you to actually move throughout the level instead of just posting up and then sniping people from a distance, which is something I did in like Deathloop, and it just totally broke the game because everybody was so stupid. The AI was so brain dead that you could just post up like where the player is now in this shot and then just blink, 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 blink everybody off and then move in, and it was nothing. It was a joke. So I'm glad to see that they have this system that encourages you to, or forces you basically to move throughout the level.
Be the Slayer means learning the tricks of the trade. Each of Redfall's 4 playable protagonists are equipped with unique skills to help with that process. For this session, I don't
know why this guy gives me such uncanny valley vibes. He just doesn't look right to me. There's something off.
As Davinder Crowsley, a quippy British cryptozoologist most obviously built around being a modern-day Buffy. His arc javelin is an electrified spear that can chain bolts of lightning around a group of enemies, and scoring a perfect throw with it feels immensely satisfying. The Blacklight, meanwhile, floods a wide area with UV light for quick crowd control. They were useful in my single-player demo, but are abilities I'm excited to use as part of a co-op session. I'm interested to see the results of experimentation with a combination of different characters' skills. My favourite of Davinder's gadgets is his translocator, a frisbee-like device that teleports you to wherever it's thrown. It's Redfall's closest answer to Dishonored's blink ability, and it quickly became my most used tool, letting me access out-of-reach open windows, flank enemies, appear behind guards for takedowns, and bypass grids of laser trip mines. It also helped just getting around. While Redfall's map seems much smaller than those in most open-world shooters, there's still a lot of ground to cover, and being able to throw the translocator over houses, streets, and fences was very handy for exploring the town. As you'd expect from a game in this genre, there's a whole bunch of things to do beyond the main storyline. There are multiple safe houses to unlock, each of which becomes an ammunition stockpile and a fast travel location. There are activities which help pull neighborhoods back from full vampire infestation, such as wiping out cultist rallies or preventing a powerful creature emerging from its blood amber cocoon. Then there are errand-like side quests that appear to be peppered with arcane Easter eggs, such as one where you head off to find whiskey and cigars. But the best side activities are the strangest ones. at least from the small sample I've seen so far. Vampire nests transport you into a twisted psychic realm, where you must destroy a room-sized heart and then claim as much treasure as possible before the entire place collapses around you like some kind of blood-splattered game show. Back in the town, you're frequently reminded that the vampire gods are watching you, and if you cause too much trouble, they'll send an incredible Hulk-like freak to beat 7 bells out of you in a battle played out beneath a wild electrical storm. The repeating nature of open-world tasks feels completely at odds with Arcane's typically handcrafted approach. But it's in these two activities that I saw a glimmer of how the studio is rethinking the building blocks of the genre to make them feel more systemic or novel. The other area in which traditional open-world shooter design is at odds with Arcane's legacy is stealth. To be clear, stealth is a component of Redfall, but it adheres to a very different rulebook than that used by Dishonored. Sneaking flows between regular bursts of violent, chaotic conflict. Dishonored was Arcane's interpretation of pure stealth classics like Thief, but the studio's touchstones for Redfall are very different. Before my demo began, co-director Harvey Smith name-checked Far Cry 2 and Stalker as influences. Two shooters from an experimental period years before the likes of Gearbox and Ubisoft established the largely unwavering open-world FPS formula. If Arcane Austin can bring its own version of the kind of innovation those games did back in the early 2000s, then Redfall could well inject a static genre.
And it's important to note that its inspiration is, like, they're pointing to Far Cry 2 as inspiration. You know, this is not going to be Dishonored with vampires, to be clear. Which is fine. Again, as long as you know what you're getting into. I think that's the important bit.
With some long overdue excitement. For more looks at upcoming games, check out our previews of Dead...
Oh yeah, Dead Island 2. That preview dropped. I don't know, man. With all of this, my concerns are still there that this is a strange departure from what Arcane is known for. So it's a risk, but honestly, I mean, you don't get something novel and innovative unless you take that risk. So I'm glad they're taking the risk. We'll see if it pays off. The one thing that changes this whole like formula is that this is a Game Pass title, day one, which of course shakes it up a little bit because now it's no longer is this worth $70, because with this, I mean, I would be very cautious spending $70 on something like this. I'd be like, I don't know. But Game Pass day one, sure, try it. Why not? Right? Like it just fundamentally changes how we recommend or review these kinds of games. You know, because basically reviews are determining whether or not it's worth the time to download instead of whether it's worth buying. And that's a good problem to have. I mean, that's a good shift. I'm glad that we're at a point where that's the distinction, but it's still a little bit strange. I still am not totally sold on it. But so many of these little things, like, does it get boring? Does it get repetitive? Does it get tedious? Like, you just don't know those things until you actually get in the game and start playing it. You don't know what you don't know, you know? But we'll see. It comes out May 2nd and day one Game Pass. We'll see if we can get it. Do you think Microsoft will release it on PS5 after some time, as they claim they never said they won't? Maybe. I mean, it could be easy money if they do that. They bring it like 6 months later or a year later. They'll probably get some sales. I don't know. I don't know like how scalable their engine is. If it's easy enough to just port it to PS5 or what. I have no idea, but that could be interesting. In terms of Metacritic prediction, I would guess probably like high 70s, I think. I think some people are going to play it and really have a good time with it and be like, oh, this is my new co-op obsession. A lot of other people are going to try it and be like, this isn't anything close to Dishonored. I hate it. You know, people are going to bail. So we'll see. But I'm not expecting it to be like a triumph. I think a lot of people will play it though. And that's all that really matters right now, if we're being completely honest. As far as Xbox is concerned. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to checking this out. This game, Minecraft Legends, through Game Pass, but I'm not sure if I buy this game outside Game Pass. Yeah, well, but exactly, Raul. But that's the amazing thing about Game Pass is that you have that option, you have that backup. He took my thing.